Welcome to the Florida Homesteader Podcast, where we bring the pages of the magazine to life, sharing all the stories, the skills, and the spirit of homesteading across the Sunshine State. From backyard gardens to family farms and everything in between, we are here to inspire, encourage, and celebrate the Florida homesteading way of life. I'm Jamie Bateman, your host and editor-in-chief of the Florida Homesteader magazine, and we're so glad that you joined us today. So folks, go grab you some iced tea and let's jump into today's podcast chat. Hey y'all, and welcome back to the Florida Homesteader Podcast. My name is Jamie, and I am the editor-in-chief of the magazine and your host for today's podcast. And this is going to be a fun conversation. We're talking all things chickens. I've got Tom Watkins on the call with us today, and he is with McMurray Hatchery. So this is going to be a fun conversation and one that I've been looking forward to. So without further ado, hi Tom.
Well, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Welcome. We are grateful for your time, and we were just chatting before we hit the record button. You were doing a tour.
Yeah, so we had a South Dakota 4-H group who was driving through the area, and they'd asked if they could get a tour. They asked if they could stop and talk to, just talk chickens. Luckily, we don't typically do tours. It is our last hatch of the season, though. So
is it?
We're done, so we don't have anything in house. So it's a good time to see things because it's not as fun because there's no chicks, but
right.
We're also a biosecure facility, so we don't typically let people with chickens go into the chickens. So
right, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So when you say they were passing through, where is here?
So we're in Webster City, Iowa. We are basically right in the middle of the country.
Okay.
We're in the middle of Iowa, which is in the middle of the United States, and we're very, very landlocked.
Okay. Unlike Florida, we are not.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting that you share that you're coming up on the end of your season.
Yes. Yeah. We had 40 weeks out of the year. Wow. So it's kind of a marathon run, but
yeah.
And then we're in our downtime, we're raising chickens. So we're getting ready for next year's flocks. So it's still a lot of work, in between time, even without the hatching. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we get into all of that, for those that don't know who McMurray Hatchery is, why don't you give us a little feedback on the company?
Yeah, so we are 108 years old. We'll be going into our 109th season right now. So we started as a hobby farm by Murray. Murray McMurray was a gentleman, and he first produced a catalog in 1917. He'd been raising chickens before that, and he was selling show stock, basically, at that time. And so that was 1917 was the first time he produced his catalog and was mailing that out to local farms, selling his chicken stock. And I think he had like 20 breeds of chickens. Progressed a few years. He was a banker by trade, and he was selling chicks out of the back of the bank. And then in 1926, the Great Depression, the bank failed. And so his two sons, John and Charles, they remember their dad coming home and saying, the bank's failed. We're going to make a living selling chickens. So in 1926, it became their full-time job. And so then as years went by, John and Charles took over for Murray, and John's son was also Murray McMurray, the grandson of the original. He came on in the 80s, and he had two partners, Mike and Bud, and then so Bud is my father-in-law, and so all of the Murrays have retired at this point. The next generation decided they weren't as fond of chickens, but we're still a family-owned business. We're still fifth generation. It's me and my father-in-law and my wife. We run the hatchery and raise chickens, so it's pretty neat. So we got a long legacy, and looking forward to the next generation coming up as well.
Do you have another generation in the sidelines?
I do. Yeah, I've got
Nice.
4 of my own, so
Okay.
they are ready to go in a few years. So
It's neat to see how families are able to continue that legacy and they pass it down generation to generation.
Mhm.
And then also when you can incorporate that into business and having that I commend y'all for doing that.
Yeah,
I did not realize the family ties to all of that.
yeah. And they have to they've got to earn it, but
Oh, they do.
yep. It's not just
Guaranteed
it's
job.
not a gift. Yeah, it's like you got to
Right.
work.
You got to
and
work. You got to
want it,
understand. Yeah, absolutely. You definitely have to want it. So with that family legacy and that business legacy that you have, what do you think sets y'all apart then from other people or other businesses in the industry?
Well, for one, we're not very big. We have a very big presence, and I think we do a very good job. Uh, but it's I'm still out there doing the work. You need to keep. I don't like big corporations, to be honest. Like, you get too removed from the people and from the processes, and you lose sight of what's really important. And to us, quality heritage poultry is what's important, but also taking care of our community and our employees, and that's number one. So, I think that's really what sets all of our staff, everybody cares about what we're doing. About it's a live animal, and you need to show it respect, and you need to give it the best of your ability, or you need to find something else to do. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you have that that respect for them.
yeah,
And so many folks, just this past weekend, I was speaking with somebody and they said they just can't understand the larger corporations. And, there's a time and place for everything, but the larger corporations and how they raise their chickens and things in that atmosphere and how you could, on the smaller scale, it's not so much the case.
well,
There's
if
more
you're not,
freedom, if you will, for those
yeah,
birds.
yeah, absolutely. If it's if a barn condition is a condition that I don't want to be in, why would I raise an animal in that as well? So,
Absolutely.
it's I think you can, if you're not willing to do that, then, you're not given the best of what, that animal needs. So, chick quality is first and foremost. So we need to have a very strong chick, and that comes from very strong hens who are well taken care of and well fed and maintained in safe, clean environments. And that produces a really good chick, which, at the end of the day, that's what makes us money.
Absolutely.
That's a quality product, but it goes from top to bottom. It's more a product,
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. So you said you have your hands in it. You're there, small operation. Walk us through your day-to-day operation. Are you in the barns with the chicks? Like, do you have hands-on with those birds?
Not every day. So,
Okay.
but this time of year, so we are, like I said, we're not hatching. We hatched 40 years. We're raising those for next year. So when we go in, we're selecting and calling. The day-to-day chores, we have a team that does. They feed and water and take care of the birds. Only if there's some other problem, that's when we need to step in, or I'll step in. Or it's when we select our birds. So we're looking for the genetics to pass on to the next generation. Us and the managers here will do that. The day-to-day is it's pretty easy. Sometimes you forget. Feed, water, pick up eggs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all of those key aspects of of the quality of those birds are what we do manually. We do purposefully with our staff. So
You obviously love what you do.
absolutely, it's
Yeah.
it's chickens. They have such a personality, and each breed, people want to characterize. Oh, this breed is best. And it's like, well, yes and no. It's everyone's got their favorite. Everyone's very
Mhm.
opinionated.
Mhm.
And it's so neat to be able to say I've been able to influence what people would see, what you would get when you're chicks. So if you're selecting breeders every year, well, in 20 years, that's my legacy, is in that chicken, in that breed. And so you'll see that, and you can absolutely change the things that if you don't want to see it, you don't select for that. So
Right. Right.
It's really neat.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen an increase in what you're doing with the smaller farmers or the smaller backyard chicken families wanting to just dive into this world of raising
Oh yeah,
chickens?
it's grown. It's grown quite a bit. Even in my time here, we've increased our flocks probably 30% in the last decade. We can't keep up.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more people getting into it, and I think we need to. It's a great, not just a hobby, but it's like knowing where your food comes from, and it's a great place to start. In a more of a sense of greater sustainability. It's like, okay, it's quick. Eggs are the perfect protein. There's 6 grams of protein. It's all the good cholesterol. It's all of those things, and you absolutely know what you put into that. And it's not expensive. It doesn't take up a lot of space. And it started with, during COVID, during the lockdown, it just exploded, because people were home and there was, a little bit of food insecurity. So it's like, okay, well, if you have eggs or at the end you have chicken, so this is where your food comes from, and you can absolutely do that in a small space. So it really got a lot of people started, and that conversation starts and it just grows.
Our mission has been to share with folks across the state of Florida specifically that it doesn't matter if you're in 200 square feet or 200 acres. Anybody can do this lifestyle, and there is purpose behind it. And so I can appreciate what you just said and what your mission is behind it, as well as supporting those that are out there. Yes, you can do it. Or you can support somebody who can if you can't.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's an egg stand, or if, know your farmer, whatever
know your
that
farmer.
is. So
absolutely, yes. So with Florida, I mentioned it. We bring our own challenges. We have our own heat. I mean, just off the coast, we got a Category 5 hurricane hanging out there. But we're grateful because that hurricane is bringing us a cold front. So for us Floridians, we're going to have lows in the 60s, and I'm going to have a sweater on. So I'm so excited. This is great. But we have the heat, we have the humidity, and our chicken raising time is actually now, which is complete opposite from what you just indicated, because you said y'all are about done.
Yep.
How do you cater to other climates and understanding how that bird health is and what that looks like?
You can grow any of the types of poultry anywhere, but it is more work to do for different breeds. So there are 8,000 chicken breeds across the world. That's variations of colors and things like that. There's about 400, that you could probably get. Yeah.
8,000? Did you say 8,000 chicken breeds? Really?
Yeah.
Golly.
According to the internet, so take that as you will. But
well, okay. Well, if it's on Google, it's official. Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, so we have 110 varieties, and chickens evolved all across the world. Chickens came into America on the Mayflower, so they weren't native to here, but they do well everywhere. So there are different climates and there are different breeds that will do better in certain scenarios. So in Florida, like I said, it's hot. You're probably not going to want to raise, a Cochin with all those big fluffy feathers. You can, it's just more work. So
absolutely. For us, we have a variety of layers. We have ducks, we've got quail, we've got meat birds that actually come from y'all. So we're very grateful for your products, because we'll give you a testimony on that if anyone is interested. Very good quality birds. But what we had found when we started raising our meat birds is that they don't do well in the summer for us. So we actually take the summer off. This past season, we took the summer off and we started again in August. So we will go from August-ish all the way through till about May or June, and then we cut it off again. So we are now raising our meat birds. But
yeah, that's very typical across the South. It's with meat birds, they're very heat intolerant. They don't do well in the heat. They don't grow well in the heat. They produce a lot of heat.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yes.
And humidity. Respiratory is the number one thing for chickens, and especially when you talk about broilers, because they do have a smaller lung capacity. And it's humid, it's harder to breathe. You're more likely infections and things like that. So that humidity is, it's not the heat, it's the humidity.
It is. It is the humidity. You can walk outside. It's hard for people to breathe sometimes in this humid weather, which is again why we're so grateful for the cold front coming out. So you mentioned different types of breeds. Are there, for those that are listening specifically in Florida, do you know off the, maybe not all 8,000 of them, but do you know off the top of your head what kind of breeds do you know that would do well for me?
There's classes of breeds, that the American Poultry Association will classify things of basically the regions that they're grown in. And Florida, I would say, is very similar to what the Mediterranean temperature and climate is. So there's a Mediterranean class of chickens that could be. They're typically smaller, lighter, like flightier. I think the smaller you get, the kind of more wild they get. Leghorns. Leghorns are a great variety. They produce a ton of eggs. There's lots of different color varieties that they can get really pretty. You can get the white ones. You can get two different types of. There's a brown, single comb brown leghorns. There's rose comb brown leghorns. There's Minorcas are really good breeds. They're a nice egg layer. They can come in, a buff color, which is the gold. Black Minorcas. The black Minorcas are one of Murray's original lines. So we've had that line of Minorcas for over 100 years. So that was one of his prize show lines. So
what color eggs do they lay?
They lay a white egg.
Okay.
So a lot of the Mediterranean breeds are going to be white egg layers.
Okay.
And I know, when you get into it, a lot of people want that brown egg. So they're
so pretty.
They are. You want the rainbow basket.
You do. You got to have the rainbow basket.
Your Mediterranean breeds are typically single comb with a larger comb. So that's how they dissipate heat too. So having a single comb or a taller comb variety will help them withstand more heat.
Interesting. I did not know that.
We'd like to take a moment to thank one of our sponsors for this episode, McMurray Hatchery. Now, whether you're starting your first backyard flock or expanding your homestead, McMurray Hatchery is going to have everything that you're going to need. From healthy heritage breed chicks to trusted poultry supplies and expert advice that you can count on. For over a century, families across America have trusted McMurray to help their flocks flourish. One egg, one hatch, and one happy homesteader at a time. Go visit them at McMurrayHatchery.com today and discover why their tradition of quality is still hatching strong. Now back to our show.
I'm learning a lot today. I got to tell you this. We stumbled on meat birds when we first started. This is years ago. We had actually bought some chicks from the box store, and they started to grow, and they were ugly. They were not those pretty ones like you were just talking about. Those they were not cute. And I remember my mama came over and she told me, she said, I asked her, I said, what is up with this bird? Like, this thing is ugly. And I thought maybe we were raising turkeys. Like, we obviously knew because we thought they were leghorns. We were told they were leghorns.
Yep, that's pretty common.
And she laughs. She goes, sweetie, she goes, I think you've got yourself a meat bird on your hand. Well, there was 10 of them. 9 of them died. They did not make it. We had one that lived. And we thought, you know what? You're the Lone Ranger on this. I want to see how long you can go. And so we kept her a year and a half. We kept her for a year and a half, but she was out walking. She got her exercise. We named her Birdie. She was huge when she finally, we went out to the chicken house one day and we found her, and I was like, it was actually kind of sad because we've had her for so long, but we did not process her. She has a grave because I was like, nope, can't do that to Birdie. But have you ever heard of them? I've never heard of a meat bird lasting as long as she did.
That's pretty long. That's probably as long as
Yes.
I've heard of.
Yeah,
I've kept some over that I didn't get to process in, and they kind of, like I said, given the right, they need exercise. They need space.
and she had it. Yeah.
And they'll act more like chickens, and then, they're grown in more of a confined area. They just don't do anything, food to water and sit. And so that's, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not what I like to see out of, when I think of chicken, but I need to.
I want to see him out.
Life.
Right.
Yep.
I want to see him out walking and talking and all that.
Yeah. Cornish, or the, meat birds do pretty well on a pasture scenario where they are moved. And they're more active. They scratch, they do chicken things. And they can have good longevity.
Talk to us a little bit about the different types of meat birds that are out there. So we've got obviously the Cornish cross.
Yep, that's far and away number one. If that's your grocery store chicken, that's what people expect. I talk a number of times on how people want a sustainable broiler option. So you kind of have to taper your expectation. You're not, eggs and meat are going to be more eggs than you'll get meat at the end of the day. But there are some really good options. Like I said, with the Cornish cross, you're looking at a short time frame. It's economic way to put food on the table. So there are some other varieties. There's red broilers, whether it's Freedom Ranger, Murray's Big Red Broiler. So those are going to be a red bird. They're really good producers too. They're probably a 12 to 14 week grow out span, which is still really fast. But there's a little bit different meat quality there. There's typically more fat on them. There's dark meats. There's more leg but less breast meat. So I think the longer a chicken lives, the more it tastes like chicken. And so that's one of my preferred broilers to grow.
You like that one? We were hoping to get that breed, but I think there was something that happened that y'all didn't have it available this season or something.
Yeah, that
happens.
Blocked. Yeah, that's next year. We have some other ones. We have a Delaware broiler, which is a heritage Delaware crossed with the broiler line to put some more meat on them, but they still have the Delaware type. We'll have a Turkin broiler next year, so a naked neck. So I don't know if you know about the Turkins, but they would do great in Florida.
So talk to us about Turkin. I haven't heard this one yet. I'm intrigued.
Turkin is a naked neck chicken, so they look kind of like turkeys, but they have no feathers on their neck, and they have like a little bow tie crest of feathers right here. So they you either love them or hate them. They can be ugly, but they're very heat tolerant. So
do you have to raise them like you would in a chicken tractor?
You can raise them like layers. They're going to be very active, more active than your Cornish are going to be. They'll be able to jump, and they won't fly, but they'll put weight on very quickly too. And you can see that as they grow. You go, okay, that's that one.
And so, how big do they get? Will they get like the ruds that you have?
Oh yeah, they'll 5-6 pounds.
Okay.
They'll live weight probably over 8, easily. So yeah, they can.
More of the white meat, brown meat. What?
There'll be more dark meat, especially on the legs. With the Cornish cross is that double breast that people really like, and that's if you're eating breast meat, then the Cornish is the way to go. If you like the whole chicken, or making your own stock.
Yes.
Then I think another type of broiler is actually going to be better. That when you make stock out of an alternative broiler or a red broiler or a little slower growing one, I mean it's nice and yellow. You'll get a fat cap on it. It's night and day.
I can't wait to try that. I cannot wait. All right, so you were talking about your season. When does your season start coming back in to where we can get back on board and order?
Absolutely. We will start the last week of January. That last Monday in January is our first hatch for 2026.
Okay.
2026. Wow, it's coming fast.
I know, it's crazy. I know. Next week is November.
I know.
It's like, this is nuts.
I got
At least at the time of the recording, and next week is November.
So January, and our main season goes through the 4th of July, where we hatch all of our stuff. Because we have so many different breeds, we, they're rare, or we call them rare and exotic. A lot of those don't have the longevity to go the full 40 weeks. So we'll taper off what we consider our main season around the 4th of July. And then we'll just kind of do the more, not necessarily production stuff, but more producing chickens, more common, your Rhode Island Reds, your Buff Orpingtons, your Barred Rocks, will continue for all the way through October. So we start in January. So right around Christmas, we'll start collecting eggs, and they'll go in right on New Year's typically. So our New Year's Eve party is, picking up eggs.
I would love it. That would be a party I'd want to go to. I'd be right there.
It is kind of exciting,
Yes, it is. I mean, you're starting a new year with a new flock, with new eggs, with new everything. So I like that idea of doing that. You talked about the healthy genetics and why it matters. So when you're talking to small farmers, small homesteaders, again, kind of narrowing it in because we are Florida. Why does having that good genetic of a bird?
What's your expectation? So you can outcross and you can make farmyard runs, but it's like, well, what do you get out of that? So we produce heritage chickens, so that it looks like it's expected to look. It produces like it's expected to produce. The quality maintains the same. So it's the same for any type of animal. If you're looking for quality, you have to start with quality. Heritage chickens is what we do. So that's what we've been doing. We've had 35 lines for 100 years. We're going to maintain that. That is exactly what we expect every generation. So I can guarantee that's what you'll get when you get that chick, and what that chick will turn out and produce. And so
I will speak again from experience. We have shopped around. We've bought from the box stores. We've bought from other hatcheries. But I will say that when we get our chicks from you, they're healthier. They do not. It's sad to say, but there's some organizations out there that when you buy chicks and they ship them to you. I had one that I ordered from one year, and I had 25 chicks come in. Every single one of them was dead.
No,
that's
so hard.
It is so hard to see that. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, those poor babies, it just was so hard. We have not had that experience with y'all. And when we get our chickens from y'all, they're healthy, they're strong, they're good, they last. Occasionally, obviously it's a bird. You're going to have a situation where you may lose one or something, especially if you order in the quantities that we do. But at the same time, we've had more success.
Thank you.
So whatever y'all are doing, keep doing it.
Like I said, it starts from the top, and those what we expect and what we are selecting for, and the hens that produce the eggs, they need to be strong quality. We need to produce strong eggs, and then they need to be strong chicks. And that's where I think we excel. And we care.
You care, absolutely. And you said that at the beginning of our conversation. You have to have that care for that animal, and it obviously it comes through on your products as well.
And shipping's not easy, but I always say being born on a barnyard's not easy too. If she was sitting on a nest, right? it's you got to be tough.
You have to be tough. You do. We talked about the climate for Florida, the breeds, the genetics, obviously the housing. We're pretty familiar with the water and keeping it clean. You talked about that because that helps with the chicken. You have a long history of supporting ag. Do you also offer educational opportunities for folks that are wanting to get more into chickens and understand this way of life or this business side of things?
We have between 8 and 12 phone staff that just talk chickens all day. And it's not just ordering. It's just, you have a question, give us a call. We are live people right here in Iowa. We can ask her any question. We ship to all 50 states, but Florida's a big one. And so, I occasionally will travel and talk about chickens and give, I don't want to say a lecture, but talks on different things. And if I'm asked, I can, definitely talk about specific things, specific breeds or specific climates, or you can get very specific.
Yes, you can.
I've been in New England and talked about, raising birds in New England. I haven't been to Florida yet. So,
Well, we need to get you to Florida.
I know there's a couple of ones down there that have asked, but it's not worked out,
Okay.
So,
yeah, we'll have to get you down there.
But yeah,
That'll
so,
be fun.
Really, it doesn't have to come from us. Find someone who's doing it. Like, know your
Yeah.
farmer.
Yes.
If you have questions, you want to get into it, ask there. Like, it's
Yeah,
tough to
absolutely.
beat experience.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
you make a friend, and
You
along
have
the
that
way,
mentor.
and you support that. Yeah, absolutely. There needs to be more mentors for everything.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. I agree. When you have folks that are wanting to place that first chicken order, what is some kind of advice that you would like to give to those that are doing that?
they fall into two groups. There's the people who really overthought it, and then there's the people who didn't think about it at all.
That's that burger. I call it a Burger King philosophy. I want it my way. I want it now. Let's get chickens, and they don't plan. It's like, no, wait a minute.
But it's okay. Chickens are resilient, and they're not difficult. But I don't recommend them, putting them in your basement or your house. Even though I've done that, they need to be in a brooder. I would think, all right, specifically to Florida, number one thing is they need to be at ambient temp of right around 95 degrees. They don't maintain, they're a baby. They don't maintain their temperature very well. I think southern states, people are, it's so hot they don't need another heat source. Well, they do overnight,
Yes.
especially too.
Yes.
So, and they want it to be the same. So the same day, the same at night. So yes, you probably do need a heat source. Does it need to be, a heat lamp? No, there are some like brooder plates that work really well, that would mimic, they're low wattage, they just stay warm enough. But they're not producing a ton of heat. In the northern climates, you probably need a heat lamp because that's going to heat up an area. But there's lots of options. But yes, they do need heat.
They do need heat. For us, when we bring our chicks in, especially even over the summer, we actually have had them under a heat lamp at night. They don't need it during the day, but at night we have, because they do. I've accidentally forgot to turn the heat lamp on one evening and go out the next morning and they're all huddled up together. They get cold. They do get cold. Yeah.
They pile on each other.
They do.
Right there. And that's
that middle chick is the blessed one, right?
Yeah.
It's got everybody covering it.
Yeah. So maintain steady temperature day and night. It's pretty short, 4 weeks or less, depending. They need a little bit of stress. It helps them feather out. You can keep them under the heat too long, and it's like, well, they didn't really feather. It's like, well, they didn't have to.
Yeah, they didn't have. That's that's when you get chicken nuggets.
Yeah,
they're under there too.
So yeah,
okay.
That's food, water, heat. That's a good quality chicken starter. It's usually higher protein. You can get it anywhere. I don't think there's a ton of difference. If you want to do organic, terrific. Non-GMO, there's a lot of options, and it's pretty easy to come by. It's pretty cheap. So
it is very easy to come by. Going back to the breeds, do you have any new breeds that you're excited about, or any new programs that you're excited about?
We got a couple new breeds. So it's catalog season, so we're in the midst of our catalog right now. So we've been working on lavender Orpingtons for like 5 years, and we had a good year, and then we kind of had a poor year, and that goes to selecting, and and if it's not something that I feel is stable enough, to sell, expectations, then we'll have to table it. So we've had to table those. Next year we're going to have a really good flock of the lavender Orpingtons, and they're beautiful.
They are. I have one.
Yeah.
I need more. My husband, he's not going to agree, but I need more. I have one.
We'll have a Penna de Seca, which is a new breed for us. They do great in Florida. They're a Mediterranean breed. They're really like a tricolor. They're really pretty. There's a few more in the works. It takes us a couple of years to get
Absolutely.
to get adequate numbers, and then, like I said, my expectations are kind of high, and they need to produce, like they look, So,
Yeah. Okay.
it takes us a couple generations to make sure that it is what we say it is. So.
And then when you have it, though, it's beautiful and it's doing great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how can listeners connect with you if they are interested in who Murray McMurray is and getting their chicks from you?
Yeah.
Where can they find you?
Number one, we're said our catalog season. Request a catalog. You can go online, murraymcmurray.com. McMurray Hatchery, we're not hard to find. Any social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, we'll do it all. But get a catalog, because that catalog it's got all of our breeds. It's got customer photos. It represents what we do, and it is its own labor of love, and it's really cool. It'll get people talking. You'll need to get two, because someone will steal it. So
I'm going to order my catalog. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah,
very nice.
I think the catalog is our best representation of who we are. So. Okay. It's neat. It's it's a paper catalog. You can't beat that. So
you can't beat that. That's why we're doing the magazine. It's bringing it. Well, see, you can't beat that. I don't know about anyone else, but I have sat on the couch at night just flipping through a chicken catalog. It's pretty entertaining.
Chicken catalogs, seed catalogs. It's
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah, they just pile up. It's our life. Well, this is great. I have to say thank you so much for not just being on the podcast with us, but Murray McMurray is a advertiser sponsor of the Florida Homesteader magazine. So because of you are helping us get this word out to other farmers and homesteaders across the Sunshine State. So thank you for your support. We appreciate you. I look forward to talking with you again. But before we go, really quick gunfire. Favorite breed? What's your favorite?
The black Langshan.
Not heard of that one.
They're an Asiatic breed. They don't lay super well. Economic wise, they're not really great about anything, but they are absolutely beautiful. They're kind of iridescent black. They're very tall, very stately. They're just a proud bird. The roosters are going to have these kind of waterfall cascading tails. It's just a massive plumage. They're just absolutely beautiful.
My list is growing.
Yeah.
When y'all get back to the hatching again, I'm going to have this huge list of, I got to have this one and this one.
Yeah. Well, they're not super well known, but man, when we walk in that pen, I fall in love every time. They're just a really proud chicken, just stately. So.
And they're in the catalog?
They are in the catalog.
Okay. All right. Y'all go get your catalog. Tom, thank you again for joining us today. It was as good. And I'll love to do this again. This will be fun. Okay. Maybe when you're back hatching again, we can have a season catch up to chat and kind of go from there. So
awesome.
All right. Well, thank you again. Me. Yes.
Before we wrap up, we'd like to thank Murray McMurray just once more. Their support makes it possible for us to share these stories from across the Sunshine State. So from our family here at the Florida Homesteader to yours, thank you so much for supporting local ag and the businesses that help our community grow. That's what homesteading in Florida means, and that's the story that we're proud to share in the Florida Homesteader. Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to subscribe, share this episode with a friend, and leave us a rating. And check out that magazine, blog, and YouTube channel too for even more Florida homestead inspiration. Until next time, y'all keep growing, keep preserving, and keep that homesteading spirit alive. Y'all come back now.